Hey guys, have you ever felt like you just had nothing left to give to others around you? Just kind of like you're compassion fatigued. Whether that be like as a parent, you feel like you're just giving and giving so much as a spouse, at your workplace, whatever it might be. Um, we can just find ourselves at that space where we just feel like all people do is take, and all we do is give. And, sometimes that's like uh, an accurate depiction of maybe what's happening in our lives with certain people, but a lot of times it's also an exaggerated view of it. But regardless, I found it really helpful for myself, and I just wanted to share when I was in my Bible time the other day. It stood out to me when I was reading in Matthew 14. It was when Jesus was informed by the disciples that John the Baptist had been beheaded. And so it just jumped out at me the way he responded to that, in that, you know, John John and Jesus knew each other in the womb, Um they reacted to each other in the womb. Like, that's a powerful connection that they had. They were family as well, cousins. There's just a real spiritual bond there. And so that would have been a major loss for Jesus, regardless of if you say, well, he would have known it was coming or this or that. I wonder that too sometimes, like, you know, how much of God's wisdom. And, I know that there were things that he knew ahead of time that were coming, but I wonder sometimes if some things were withheld from him so that he would truly have more of a human experience and know us more fully. I don't know that biblically if that's backed up. I just think that sometimes I wonder if there were portions of his life that he didn't see coming, so that because it kind of seems like it the way he responds. Sometimes he has emotions, in reaction to things, like with Lazarus and everything. So it just makes me think about that. But anyway, I'm getting off track. But in this instance, he was informed, and regardless if it's coming too, it's still painful and hurtful, for that reality to be happening. And so in that moment, he tried to get away. He tried to get away from the people, away from everyone, to get space, as we naturally all would want in those moments of grief. And in doing that, it says that the multitudes caught on to where he was at, and they followed him. Again, wanting more from him, and how many times have you felt that way in life, and what struck me though so powerfully is his reaction to them. It says that um, he felt compassion for them. He looked at them with compassion and he healed them. And when I read that, I don't know, for myself, it was just eye opening. And like, you know, you guys might be thinking of this, like I said, from being a parent, being a spouse, those sort of roles. For myself as like a counselor, there can be definitely times when it's like I really try to provide a space for my clients where they feel heard and valued and seen. Um, and I really try to be good about boundaries. So, it's all about them in that time. It's their time. It's not about me, but you do that day in and day out for people. Um, and you can get to a place sometimes where it's like, at the end of the day, you just want somebody to hear you and see you and just witness your life and what you're feeling maybe that day. And sometimes you get that and sometimes you don't. Sometimes people aren't able, or they're not good at it, or whatever. Um, and you can feel shortchanged, and or at the end of the day, others needs, in your personal life, at the end of the day, I can find that others still need something from me because they're human, and you feel tapped out, sometimes. Like, um, yeah, I think that's a lot of times why I just want to run off into the woods. Sometimes I just clear my head and be with the Lord. Um, but it was very empowering for me to recognize, like, how amazing it is that Jesus was able to do that, that he was able to look on the multitudes. I imagine myself some days the way that I feel, that I would have been like, "Are you kidding me? You can't even allow me to have this time for myself after all I do for everyone. You just can't give me this space, to just have my time with the Lord." And but he didn't. He just felt compassion for them. And I loved how it says that he felt the compassion for him. He didn't do it out of responsibility and duty, like, oh, this is my calling, this is why I'm here, so this is what I need to do, right? It doesn't say that. Sorry, my light just went out. um it's it says that he felt compassion for them. And you might say, okay, great, but yes, he was human, but he was also God, so of course he's able to. But guess what? If you're a believer, his spirit dwells within you, right? And so his spirit and that power and that capability, to have that type of compassion, even when you're struggling with your own stuff, is in you. It's available to you. You can tap into it, and I know, like, my fellow counselors, social workers, anybody in the helping profession is probably thinking, Danielle, what about your self-care? you know, and I get that. And, anyone who has been like a staff member of mine would tell you I was, always a big supporter of their self-care and encourage them to consider that and take care of themselves so that they can be better for others too. But I also am starting to understand now too, like, I think our society has, that pendulum has swung very far in that direction, and we've taken it to an extreme at times. And I myself, I think in my life and over the years has done that. And I'm learning that it is self-care. Actually, the most perfect, helpful, effective self-care is me tapping in to that spirit inside me, that perfect spirit of Christ that dwells in me, and relying on his power to keep giving, because it truly is supernatural, that power. And so it doesn't drain me when I do that. When I rely on him for it, I'm capable. And I don't feel as resentful. I don't feel like I'm denying myself anything when I give more. When I feel like I've been, tapped out, and I turn to him and I rely on him inside of me and use that ability. He does it for me then, literally. And yes, there's balance to everything. I know that even Jesus got weary at times and he rested at times. Like, he did at times have to get away and get his space. I do recognize that. But I also notice that there's times that I kind of have taken that far, and maybe I'm, selfish, or maybe I just really need to be able to give a little bit more. It's interesting because I was going to talk on this yesterday. I'd planned to make the video. Sorry, it's dark in here. Didn't plan for that light to go out in my car. But it's interesting because I had, like, okay, when I'm done with my clients, I'll just work on some paperwork, and then I'm going to make a quick video. And interestingly enough, one of my clients unexpectedly really needed support, like, really needed support. I didn't plan for it. It changed my plans for the evening. And I was like, when I realized, and I was like, you're funny, God. He has a funny way of just, like, of revealing himself to us more, and of revealing who we are and our shortcomings, right? Because I did not want to do it, honestly, at that point, because I had an idea of what I was going to do that evening and get accomplished for myself, and someone needed more. And again, yes, always in balance. Yes, we need to take care of ourselves too. I agree to an extent. But I did. I remembered that scripture. I visualized Jesus and him looking upon those people with compassion. And you got to remember, though, like, these are the same people that most of the time too, when he would heal, some were grateful, but there were many that weren't, that didn't even come back to thank him. There were, many that he commanded them not to tell people and they didn't listen. There's a lot of, not as grateful as they probably could have been. We all fall short of that though with him. But and then what he did know, what he was aware of looking at the future was, his ultimate sacrifice for us and them, and how they would cause him to suffer in such a way. And even the people closest to him, the disciples, most of them would abandon him in it. Like he knows that. And he still finds that compassion in him, for them in those moments when he's hurting for his own loss, and he doesn't even get the space to feel that. It just blew me away. And like I said, just remember, it is inside of you. His spirit, that ability is in us, and things are getting harder in this world, obviously they're getting harder for everyone. We're going to need to tap into that more and more. We're going to need to tap into that for ourselves. We're going to need to tap into that for others. Everyone's struggling more than ever, and it's probably just going to continue, to look that way, and us as believers, we need to be that light, and we need to be able to overcome that and have more endurance than those that don't have the spirit inside of them. So I hope that's encouraging to somebody. And you don't feel condemned, by not giving enough, but you feel encouraged that you don't have to do it on your own. That's my goal in this, is not to condemn anybody for not having that compassion in those moments, but recognizing like it's not on you. You're going to come up short if you rely on your ability to do it. And just remembering that he will provide that. So hope that's helpful, and hope you have a blessed day. Thanks, guys.